Hello, innovators, and welcome to another episode of the Jens Heitland Show, where I connect the dots of innovation and entrepreneurship with my guests. Today's episode is a HIQA episode, and HIQA stands for Human Innovation Questions Answered. And today, the topic we will cover is how to transform a business the human way. And I came up with this because I've had a discussion the other day with a person from a large organization where we discussed business transformation and how important it is to work with the humans in the business. And of course, I was trying to convince the person that the human aspect is the most important, and it was about digital transformation. So we will talk a little bit digital transformation today. But let's get into high level. So how to transform a business the human way. For me, there are at least four things that are very important to cover, and these are the four things we will dive into today. So leadership, as usual, whatever I do, it's about leadership, and we talk a little bit about how you do that through leadership. Then we talk about communication, how you communicate and go deeper with the communication. Then the involvement of the employees of the business, and them looking at the long-term perspective. These are the key success factors of transformations. So let's dive into them. How to lead a business transformation the human way. And that's, of course, the leadership question. Take full responsibility. So you are the leader of the transformation. If you're the leader of the transformation, take full responsibility. Be there and say, this was a decision we have taken as a business to transform, to do the digital transformation. If we take this example, then you go to the announcement and you stand in front of the people and say, this is decided and there's no way that we turn back. Make it very clear as an organization that this transformation is going to happen. There's no way around it. So it's clear from the beginning, and then take full responsibility to drive this forward. So as a leader, it's important that you do this in the beginning, that everyone understands that it's very clear. And we'll go more into the communication aspects in the next one. But it's important as well, not just to be clear and say it's decided and that you take full responsibility of it. It's also important that you're going the first step, that you are the good example to do that. It's very important that you basically live already in the future. So if we talk about digital transformation, whatever you want to change with the digital transformation, be the good example, do it first. Show everyone that you take the first step into that direction. If that means that you do things differently, you need to do it first so everyone sees that as a good example. And then when you work with the leadership team, keep the leadership team accountable as well, so that they are a good example for the rest of the organization. Very important. You are responsible for everything as the leader of that transformation. Keep your team accountable so that they spread the message, that they spread the organizational change, which is connected to any transformation you work with as well. And then the third part is listen. You as a leader need to listen to what's going on. It's kind of a fever thermometer of the organization. You need to understand what's working, what's not working. And for me, it's not on a detail level, but you need to see what's boiling, what's not boiling. So listening to the communication aspects from the employees to see what's going on. Talk with the management team members. Talk with the leadership team that they do the same, to listen with their employees. And not just the direct reports. I think it's very, very important that when you are a leader of a big transformation, you have to go deeper. You have to talk to the people who are working, who are meeting the customers if you're a customer-facing business. It's very important that you listen to them and understand where they come from. It's not about arguing with everyone to convince them. It's more about that they're feeling listened to. So how do you communicate a transformation the human way? Communication, as you have seen already from the leadership part, is a key part of any transformation. So be transparent as much as possible. And it's, for me, it's starting with the why as a get-go. Is why do you do this transformation? Not just saying as the leader, hey, we have decided to do the transformation. it's as well about why do you do this transformation. If we go back to the digital transformation topic, is why do you do the digital transformation? How important is that for the business? And as well give a possibility to an outlook into the future, what consequences that might have for the business. Be transparent and be open as well, that everyone understands what's happening. And that means the positive things, but it also means the negative things. Sometimes big transformations require that you reduce the amount of employees in an organization. Sometimes transformation are even the goal of reducing employees in an organization. And that in itself is nothing bad. It's more about how do you work with the people, how do you talk and listen to the people that are inside of your organization because they feel anxious about their future, and how do you help them to understand what is happening to them, and be very, very transparent on all the front going forward. Then what I have learned in the past, specifically working in very large organizations, it's good to document the process. Document not just for you in your office and for the transformation team, if you have a transformation team like a lot of big organizations have. It's more about that you have a documentation for the public inside of the organization, of course, not for the wider public, of what's going on. Have a weekly discussion, have a weekly Q&A with the employees in the organization, record it on video so that you can share it. For me, these small things make a huge difference if you're human, if you connect to the people in a way that they can ask you the critical questions. I know that a lot of leaders, when it comes to transformation, they try to hide, and then they put the PR person or someone who is professional in the communication into the front and say, hey, you take care of that, I will back you up. It's more important that you as the leader, or even the leadership team, the management team for that organization, is stepping in front and say, hey, we want to have an engagement, we want to collaborate, we want to listen, we want to hear what's going on. So let's build something that helps us to do that. And of course, I'm a big fan of podcasts. You can even do that in a podcast format where everyone inside of the organization can listen to and hear and kind of understand what you're after. And when you document that on a weekly basis, everyone in the organization has the possibility to inform themselves. Specifically in transformation, the worst thing you can do is not informing the people. If people are in doubt, if they don't know what's going on in a transformation, they might step back. They might step back and try to preserve what they have. So if I'm threatened and feel like I might lose my job, I don't know what's going on in the future, I might just do what is required to do, which means business basics, business as usual, and it doesn't help the organization to transform. It doesn't help to go into a new direction. And worst case, the good people in your organization, the ones who are having the possibility to go into other organizations, they might leave already if you're not transparent, if you're not communicating in a good way. And then another part I always highlight is celebrate. Celebrate successes, celebrate when you have done good things, but also celebrate the failures you did. Be open and transparent again. With the failures you have created, maybe you did something completely wrong and figure it out after a year or after half a year, and then just say, hey, this was a mistake, we have done something wrong, and that can happen in an organization, that can happen in a change, because you never exactly know what the future is. So when you are open with that, people understand on a human level that this can happen. And of course, then you need to live with the consequences as well on what happens and what failures are coming up that way. Next part is how to involve employees in a business transformation the human way. And for me, it's a key part of involvement. I've seen a lot of organizations, they do the fake involvement. They show, yeah, we do little streams or little smaller groups which help you in the transformation, because they say we can't involve the whole organization inside of a transformation. For me, that's a gimmick which a lot of consultancies do, and it's for me completely wrong. You need to involve as many as possible people inside of a transformation to be truly transformed as an organization. So for me, it's all about how do you empower the people inside of your organization to drive the transformation. Give them the possibility to understand why is it, what is it, and how you're going to do this so that they understand how they can contribute in their day-to-day business already towards the transformation. Give them a framework, give them an understanding of, hey, this is the way we go, this is what you can do, and this is where we think we can go. If you see something you can contribute, if you see something where it might be even easier to get there, please let us know. Please do it even if you give them the possibility and truly taking action. So it's really about setting the frames and giving them the responsibility, because everyone within your organization can step into the transformation from day one if you involve truly everyone. A lot of organizations see this as the most risky thing because they believe that their employees don't understand the future. They don't want the future. So it's always a kind of protection mechanism of the management team, which means they're saying, no, that they don't get it yet. We need to do this our way. So you kind of build from the beginning on a kind of border or even a wall between the management team and the ones who want to go there and the ones they believe they don't want to go there. I don't think that it's a good way. If you involve everyone, be very transparent from the beginning and start to collaborate with the organization, with the employees of the organization on all levels. And that might require more time for a transformation, but I truly believe it's a successful organizational transformation. Because what I've seen, organizations work with consultants, they do whatever playbooks, they do a lot of nice things where they bring, in the best case, even a couple of teams together, cross-organizational, to work on the transformation, but then miss out the rest of the organization. And it's not truly successful because then the consultants step out. The organization is kind of in a new direction and then everything falls apart again, so that then the management team takes the handbrake and say, okay, let's take the consultants again. And some of these things are designed and some of these things are just wrong because you haven't involved the organization. So you basically, in innovation, we always talk the internal immune system is fighting against this virus, which is the transformation. So if you have this fight already ongoing, then the immune system is always winning, because the immune system is, in some organizations, 70 plus years old, 100 plus years old, or 10 plus years old, and is always stronger than a little transformation. And worst case, then the management is changed or a manager is changed because they haven't been good in this, and so on and so on. So it's really about collaboration with the people to achieve this in a long-term perspective, which leads us into the last point: how to ensure a long-term success in a business transformation, the human way. Focus on the long run. A lot of organizations say, okay, we have now 1 year, it's a 1 year window. Worst case, if you look into financial years of organizations, we can mess up 1 year, but we can't do that for a longer term. So that's why we need to squeeze everything into 1 year. Specifically in digital transformation, you see that a lot. So that means you try to push everything against this wall, which is basically the date you have decided to be finished. And if you have a project manager, if you have someone who is organizing the transformation, everything is dialed in towards that day. And it's not bad to have an end date, not bad to say, hey, we need to be ready at that time. It's more about you need to consider the long-term consequences you have if you do it too short. The long-term consequences are, in a lot of organizations, I have seen it over the last 5, 6, 7 years, that the organizations transform. A lot of good, valuable employees are leaving the organization, using the opportunities that come with transformations, and they're gone. And then the organization is stagnating over years because they're missing this superpower of the employees who had the energy in the past, who then truly drive that business forward. So if you don't have the long-term perspective, what is the result after the transformation? How do you do a transformation that is bringing everyone in the organization along and not just pushing people out, which you think, or some leaders might think, they're not valuable anymore? Very, very important. Focus on the long run and look into consequences of what happens if you lose certain amount of people. And I go more into the people part because I have seen so many mistakes happening in the past. Build opportunities for people to grow as part of this. So every transformation, every change in an organization has an opportunity for people to step in, has an opportunity for people to grow as part of this. So when you involve the people from the beginning, you can make them aware of all these opportunities. And if you're truly transparent from the beginning, you can say, hey, these jobs will not be there in this way anymore in the future, but therefore we have a lot of other jobs and we can help you to transform into these roles, transform into these future jobs. And you need to have a setup as a transformation organization that helps you to get there, that helps every employee to find their individual and professional path towards that future. And if you do this with the long-term perspective again in mind, then people will start to grow. People will start to chip in and be part and drive the transformation as a consequence of that. And I can't say it more often. Value the people that know your organization. I've seen organizational transformation where people who have worked more than 20 years in a company are kind of pushed out because they have been difficult inside of the transformation, because they have so much knowledge and say, hey, we have tried this 20 years ago. They haven't been taking serious in the transformational aspects. And then the organization is losing someone who has 20 years of knowledge inside of an organization, which I think is a big, big, big loss for an organization. Yes, these people might be difficult to handle because they know so much, and young leaders who are very energetic might kind of face difficulties in dealing with these people, but then it's more a leadership issue than it's the 20-year experienced person, because they do this in a way to protect the company. And sometimes leaders are just forcing transformation rather than saying, okay, let's take a step back. Let's have a listen to what the experienced people are saying. Where does it come from? What can we learn from the experience of the experienced people? And then you look into, hey, there might be a valuable thing in this, and let's try to figure out how we can achieve that goal with taking these valuable insights into consideration. So all in all, I am a big believer in the human way, because I understand that the changes we face will always be faster in the future. Changes in our world will only get faster. If you build this the human way, if you build a company that's adapting with the human front and center, you will be more successful. And we will see this over a long time, that organizations who focus on people will be more successful. That's it today. See you in the next episode. Thanks for listening to today's episode. You will find the links and resources in the show notes of this episode. If you would like to support the podcast, the most impactful thing you can do is subscribing to the show on any of the podcasting platforms and give me a review. This will help me to reach more innovators around the world and bring some of you into the show. If you have any question to the guest or want to engage with me, feel free to reach out to me on social media and contact me there.